Have you ever finished an English lesson, closed the book, and 5 minutes later, forgot almost everything you studied? If that sounds familiar, you're not the problem. The way you've been learning English is, most people believe that the more they study, the faster they'll become fluent. So they buy grammar books, download language apps, watch hundreds of YouTube videos, write pages of vocabulary, and after months, or even years, they're still afraid to speak. Why? Because studying English and using English are two completely different things. Imagine someone who wants to become a great football player. Every day, he reads books about football. He watches professional matches. He memorizes every rule. He learns every position, every strategy, every formation. But he never steps onto the field. 1 year later, is he a football player? No. He's simply someone who knows a lot. About football, English works exactly the same way. Many learners become experts at studying English without ever becoming comfortable using English. And that's the biggest mistake. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a real conversation in English? Not an exercise, not reading aloud, not repeating after a teacher. A real conversation. If you can't remember, don't worry. You're not alone. Millions of English learners spend years learning, but only a few minutes speaking. And then they wonder why fluency never arrives. Here's the truth. Fluency is not built inside your notebook. Fluency is built inside your daily life. Every time you think in English, your brain becomes faster. Every time you listen carefully, your ears recognize new patterns. Every time you speak, even with mistakes, your confidence grows. That's how language develops. Not through perfection, through repetition. Most learners have one dangerous habit. Every Monday, they create a brand new study plan. This time, I'll study 2 hours every day. They feel excited, motivated, ready to change their lives. 3 days later, life becomes busy. The plan disappears. The notebook stays closed. And guilt replaces motivation. The following Monday, everything starts again. New notebook, new app, new promises. Same result. Does that sound familiar? Here's what successful learners do differently. They don't depend on motivation. They depend on systems. Instead of saying, I'll study for 3 hours, they say, every morning, I'll listen to English while making breakfast. Instead of, I'll memorize 100 words, they say, I'll describe my day in English for 5 minutes. Small habits. Repeated every day. Always beat big plans. That never happened. Now let me tell you about Michael. Michael believed grammar was everything. He bought expensive courses, filled shelves with English books, finished grammar exercises every weekend. His test scores were excellent. But one day, an American tourist asked him, "Excuse me, can you help me find the train station?" Michael understood every word. He knew the grammar. He knew the vocabulary. But nothing came out. His mind became completely blank. Not because he didn't know English, but because he had never trained himself to use English naturally. That moment changed everything. Michael stopped studying English as if it were a school subject. He started living with English. He listened while walking. He watched short interviews during lunch. He spoke to himself while driving home. Every evening, he recorded 1 minute of English on his phone. Nothing complicated. Nothing perfect. Just consistent practice. 3 months later, his grammar hadn't magically improved overnight. His vocabulary wasn't twice as large. But something much more important had changed. He stopped translating every sentence. He answered questions faster. He smiled during conversations. For the first time, Speaking English felt natural. That's the power of daily exposure. Most people think learning happens when they're studying, but the brain learns best when it experiences something repeatedly. Think about your native language. Did anyone give you grammar lessons before you learned to speak? No. You listened. You copied. You repeated thousands of times. Your brain discovered patterns naturally. That's exactly how fluent English develops. Not by collecting more information, but by using the information you already have. So, before you open another grammar book, ask yourself one question. Did I use English today? Or did I only study English? Because those two things are completely different. And once you understand that difference, your journey toward fluency finally begins. Now, I want you to think about something. Have you ever noticed that some people become fluent without studying grammar every single day? Why? Because they understand one simple truth. Language is not information. Language is behavior. Imagine learning to dance. You can watch tutorials for months, read every book about dancing, memorize every step, but until your body starts moving, nothing changes. Speaking English is exactly the same. Your mouth needs practice. Your ears need repetition. Your brain needs real situations, not perfect conditions. Real situations. That's why I always tell people, stop asking, which grammar book is the best? Start asking, how often do I actually use English? That single question can completely change your progress. Let's imagine two English learners. David studies grammar for 2 hours every Saturday. Emma listens to English for 20 minutes every morning. She thinks in English while cooking. She speaks to herself during her walk. She watches one short English video before bed. Who becomes fluent first? Almost always Emma. Not because she's smarter, not because she has better memory, because English became part of her life. And that's the difference. The brain remembers what it experiences repeatedly, not what it studies occasionally. Here's another mistake. People try to understand every single word. If they hear one unfamiliar word, they panic. They stop listening. They immediately open a dictionary. But fluent speakers don't process language one word at a time. They understand ideas, context, emotion, meaning. Think about children. When a child hears a new word, they don't stop the conversation. They keep listening. Their brain slowly understands the meaning from everything around it. You can learn the same way. Don't interrupt your learning every 30 seconds. Keep listening. Let your brain discover patterns. Trust the process. Now, let's talk about fear. Fear is one of the biggest reasons people never become fluent. They're afraid of making mistakes, afraid of sounding foolish, afraid someone might laugh. But let me ask you something. When a baby learns to walk, does anyone criticize the baby for falling down? No, because everyone understands falling is part of learning. So why should English be different? Every mistake is proof that you're practicing. Every awkward sentence makes the next sentence easier. Every conversation builds another layer of confidence. Perfection creates pressure. Practice creates progress. Always choose progress. Here's a simple challenge. For the next 7 days, don't study English first. Use English first. Describe your morning. Talk about your plans. Explain what you're doing. Think in English while walking. Then, if you need grammar, learn it after you've used the language. You'll be surprised how much more useful grammar becomes when it solves a real communication problem, instead of being another chapter in another textbook. Because the goal has never been to know English. The goal is to live comfortably in English. And once English becomes part of your everyday life, fluency stops feeling impossible. It simply becomes the natural result of what you do every single day. There's something else that most English learners never realize. Your environment is teaching you something every single day. The question is, what is it teaching you? If you spend 6 hours every day hearing only your native language, then suddenly expect yourself to think in English, your brain becomes confused because the brain always chooses what feels familiar. That's why creating an English environment is so important. No, you don't need to move to America. You don't need expensive classes. You don't need to quit your job. You simply need to bring English into your everyday routine. Change your phone language. Follow English creators. Listen to podcasts while exercising. Read one page before bed. Watch interviews instead of random videos. Little by little, your brain begins to accept English as something normal. And once something feels normal, it becomes easier. Now let me ask you another question. How many times have you said, "My memory isn't good. I always forget vocabulary. My brain isn't made for languages"? Be careful, because the words you repeat become the beliefs you live. Instead of saying, "I can't remember English," try saying, "I'm improving every day." Instead of, "I'm bad at speaking," say, "I'm becoming more confident every week." It sounds simple, but your brain is always listening to the conversations you have with yourself. Successful learners protect that conversation. They encourage themselves. They celebrate small wins. One new sentence, one better pronunciation, one longer conversation. They understand. Progress isn't measured by perfection. It's measured by consistency. Let me tell you about Anna. Anna didn't have expensive courses. She didn't have foreign teachers. She didn't even have much free time. She worked all day, came home tired, cooked dinner, helped her family. Most people would have said, "I don't have time." Anna asked a different question. "Where can I find 10 minutes?" While washing dishes, she listened to English. While waiting for the bus, she reviewed simple phrases. Before sleeping, she spoke to herself for 3 minutes. Nothing extraordinary, just small actions. 1 year later, people asked her, "How did your English improve so much?" She smiled, because nobody noticed the tiny habits that created the big result. That's how success always works. People see the outcome, they rarely see the process. English is no different. Everyone wants fluency. Very few people fall in love with the daily practice that creates fluency. And that's exactly why so many people quit. Don't be one of them. Don't chase motivation. Build routines. Don't chase perfection. Build confidence. Don't chase shortcuts. Build habits. Because habits never disappoint you. They quietly change your future, one day at a time. So today, instead of asking, "What should I study?" ask yourself, "How can I use English today?" That one question may completely change the way you learn forever. Before we finish today's episode, I want to leave you with one final thought. Imagine yourself exactly 1 year from today. You wake up, you open your laptop, an international client joins a meeting. A tourist asks you for directions. A new friend starts talking to you in English. How do you want to feel? Nervous? Silent? Afraid? Or calm? Confident? And ready? The answer will not be decided that day. It is being decided today by the choices you make. Every podcast you listen to, every sentence you speak, every small habit you repeat. People often ask, "Evan, What's the fastest way to become fluent? And my answer is always the same. Stop looking for the fastest way. Start looking for the smartest way. The smartest way is to make English part of your everyday life. Not something you do only when you have free time. Not something you remember only before an exam. Make English your daily companion. Think in English. Listen in English. Speak in English. Live in English. Little by little, day after day, you'll notice something amazing. You'll stop searching for every word. You'll stop translating every sentence. You'll stop worrying about every mistake. Instead, you'll focus on the conversation. You'll enjoy expressing your ideas. You'll discover that fluency was never hiding inside another grammar book. It was hiding inside your daily habits. Remember this: a book can teach you rules. A video can teach you ideas. A teacher can guide you. But only you can build fluency. Nobody can practice for you. Nobody can think for you. Nobody can speak for you. That responsibility is yours. And that's good news, because it means your future is in your hands. You don't need perfect English to begin. You only need the courage to use the English you already know. Start with one sentence. Tomorrow. Speak 2. Next week. Speak 10. Next month. Hold a conversation. One day, without even realizing it, you'll become the person who inspires someone else. Someone will ask you, "How did you become so fluent?" And you'll smile, because you'll remember, it didn't happen in one day. It happened one small habit at a time. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I truly hope this episode changes the way you think about learning English. If it did, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And if you're ready to become a confident English speaker, join me again, right here, on English Unleashed. I'm Evan Brooks. Keep listening, keep thinking, keep speaking, and never stop believing in what you're capable of. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.